Love the Eagles as much as we do? Then hit that subscribe button and stick with us at Eagles Nest News for all the drama, updates, and hype all season long. Today we are diving into some heavy Eagles talk, starting with the shocker about Nick Sirianni almost getting fired. Then moving into the offensive coordinator situation and why it seems like no one wants that job in Philadelphia. And finally, the Christian Parker situation, which looks like it is only a matter of time before he's gone. Let's get straight into it. First, I want to address some national media noise that has been circling lately, especially around Josh Allen. The guy has been getting this untouchable treatment, like he can do no wrong, even when he turns the ball over in crucial moments. Allen had 4 turnovers in that playoff game, and I thought it was finally time for the media to give him some real criticism. Instead, the narrative was, don't blame him. It was not his fault. He was emotional, he cried, and all of that. Meanwhile, when the Eagles lost to the Chargers with those same kinds of turnovers, it felt like the world ended. The criticism was immediate, loud, and brutal. It's almost like there's a double standard in how the national media treats quarterbacks, depending on who they are trying to build up as the face of the league. I'm not even going to get into the racial angle, but it does seem like certain players are protected while others get exposed. And the thing is, Josh Allen is a superstar in the league. The media loves him, the NFL loves him, and the commissioner's office seems to have a soft spot for him. Remember when the overtime rules were changed? That was a clear move to give him the best possible chance to win a Super Bowl. But the reality is that he has a history of not finishing the job when it matters most. You can call it what it is. He is a choke artist in the postseason. That's not me hating. That's just the pattern. He plays great in the regular season, but when the pressure hits, he turns the ball over and costs his team games. And the media still tries to shield him from any real accountability. The glaze fest is real, and it happens for certain guys. The Bills even went as far as firing their head coach after those turnovers, which is insane. What does the head coach have to do with Josh Allen's 4 turnovers? The coach kept him in the game, so how is that the coach's fault? I genuinely feel bad for Sean McDermott, because I don't think he deserved that, but that's the reality when you have a star quarterback that the league wants to protect. The national media will shift blame, and someone else takes the fall. All right, let's switch back to Eagles football and what's going on here in Philadelphia. The big topic right now is the offensive coordinator search. I saw a report that the Eagles interviewed Tampa Bay's passing game coordinator, Josh Grizzard. He's one of those underrated coaches who doesn't have the big name, but has proven he can run an effective passing game. Tampa's offense looked sharp, and the passing game was a huge part of that. I'm not sure if he has ever called plays, but what I do know is that he has experience and success with the passing game, and that's what the Eagles need. It's actually frustrating to look at what happened with Kevin Patullo. If the passing game was the weakest part of a Super Bowl run, why would you promote that guy to offensive coordinator? It did not make sense to me. So Grizzard's interview at least feels logical. The passing game in Tampa was strong, and he played a big role in that. But here's the thing, the Eagles are not rushing this decision. I know fans hate it, but it's a sign that they want to find the right person, not just a flashy name. There are other big names out there, like Mike McDaniel or even DeMeco Ryans, but it's not always about grabbing the biggest name. The Eagles seem to be trying to find someone who checks all the boxes. Will they stay more than a year? Will they be successful? And the bigger question is this job even stable? Because the offensive coordinator role in Philadelphia has become a revolving door. Guys either leave for head coaching jobs or get fired. That kind of instability makes top coordinators think twice. And then you add in the reports that offensive coordinators don't even want to come to Philadelphia. Fans immediately jump to the conclusion that it's because they don't want to work under Nick Sirianni or deal with his playbook. I get that, but I think there's more to it than just Sirianni. The bigger issue is the control that Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman won over the coaching staff. That leash is too tight. It's like the Chip Kelly era all over again, where the front office wanted control over everything. They want a coach who will follow the plan, not someone who will challenge the structure. That's why Nick Sirianni is the head coach. They didn't want someone like John Harbaugh or a strong offensive mind who would demand more autonomy. I even wonder if they would be hesitant to bring in someone like Mike McDaniel, because he might want to bring in his own staff and call plays the way he wants to. And the more you look at it, the more you see how the front office keeps certain pieces in place. Even if they are not producing at the level you'd expect. Take Jeff Stoutland, for example. He is a great coach, and I understand why they keep him. But what if a new offensive coordinator wants to bring in his own staff? What if he wants to replace certain position coaches who have been around for years but haven't developed players the way they should? That kind of conflict makes it difficult to attract top-tier coordinators. The Eagles are also dealing with a roster that raises a lot of questions. The offensive line looks shaky and injury-prone. The biggest star, A.J. Brown, is publicly unhappy and rumors are swirling about whether he will be traded. If you're a coordinator looking at this situation, you have to ask yourself, am I walking into a rebuild? Do I have to coach without my best receiver? Do I have to fix the offensive line while also trying to win now? And then there's Jalen Hurts. Is he the long-term quarterback? Can I trust him to be the face of my offense? Those are not small questions. That's why it makes sense that some coordinators are hesitant to come to Philadelphia. And let's be honest, the offensive line is not a comfortable situation. Landon Dickerson has shown flashes. But is he regressing? Cam Jurgens looks like he's not at his best. Tyler Steen at best. Lane Johnson, will he retire? Will he stay? Is he still the same dominant force? There are too many unknowns. Then you have Saquon Barkley, who may be on the decline. And Dallas Goedert, will he be back? It's a lot of uncertainty for someone coming in to run an offense at a high level. So when you really look at the situation honestly, it's not that surprising that coordinators are hesitant. It's not just the coaching staff or the playbook, it's the entire offensive structure. And if you're a coordinator who has options, why would you rush into a job where the front office is quick to fire and the roster might be in transition? Now let's talk about Nick Sirianni and the rumors that he was almost fired. I saw the clips and heard the talk, and yes, it's true there was a point where Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie were seriously considering moving on from him. The question is, why didn't they? The answer is simple. He has been successful. He's been to the Super Bowl twice, and he won once. It's hard to fire a coach with that track record, but you can see the tension. You can feel the doubt. It's like the front office was torn between the need for stability and the desire to control the direction of the team, according to Jeff McLean. They almost fired Sirianni in 2023 during that period when the offense was struggling under Brian Johnson. That's why it took so long to do the end-of-season press conference. The front office was trying to figure out if they wanted to keep him or move on. Then, when the team started 2-2 and hit that bye week, the pressure was intense. The team needed to make changes, and they did. They turned the season around. The run game improved, and the rest is history. They won the Super Bowl, and Sirianni got a contract extension. That run saved him, but it also showed how close he was to being fired. And here's the thing, if the Eagles do decide to move on from Sirianni in the future, history tells us they will likely replace him with another coach they can control. They don't want a head coach who will demand autonomy or challenge the system. That's the pattern. That's the indictment on the ownership. They want control over the coaching staff. And that's why the coordinator job looks unstable and why top candidates are hesitant to come. Here now, speaking of coaches and the future, let's talk about Christian Parker. This is the part where I think we need to start preparing for him to leave. He is the hottest name on the market, and he's getting interviews with teams like the Cowboys and the Packers. The Packers requested an interview, and that tells you how much respect he has in the league. If I had to choose where I'd rather him go, I would pick the Packers. I'd rather see him in Green Bay than in Dallas. Seeing him in Cowboys colors would be tough, especially because they are a division rival. But the reality is that Christian Parker is going to get a head coaching job soon. He deserves it. The way he developed players like C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Darius Slay, and others is undeniable. He made the secondary play at a high level, and he deserves the recognition. As much as I want him to stay in Philadelphia, it feels like the writing is on the wall. The key for Eagles fans is to hope that whoever replaces him can maintain that level of defensive excellence, and that's the situation. The Eagles are at a crossroads with the offensive coordinator search, the future of Nick Sirianni, and the potential loss of Christian Parker. There are a lot of questions and not enough answers yet. But one thing is clear, this offseason is going to be a defining moment for the team. All right, let's keep rolling because there is still a lot to unpack here. The Eagles are at a point where everything feels like it could change overnight. The offensive coordinator search is ongoing. The stability of the coaching staff is being questioned. And the roster has more questions than answers. And while we are dealing with all of that, The national media is still doing its thing, acting like everything is perfectly fine for certain teams and certain players, while the Eagles are under the microscope for every little mistake. That double standard is real, and it's something Eagles fans have learned to live with, but the bigger issue is what happens next. Because the Eagles cannot stay in this limbo forever. The more I think about it, the more I realize that the Eagles are stuck in a cycle. They want to win now, but they also want control. They want to hire coaches who can deliver immediate results, but they also want coaches who won't challenge the front office. That's a tough balance to strike. And when you combine that with a roster that might be headed toward a rebuild, it's no wonder coordinators are hesitant to come to Philadelphia. Why would a coach give up stability, give up control, and give up a chance to build his own identity, just to come to a situation where he might be fired in a year if things do not go perfectly? The Eagles have always been a win-now franchise, and that's part of the culture, but the reality is that the league is changing, and teams are building for the long term. If the Eagles want to continue being elite, they need to think long-term too. That means giving coaches more autonomy, giving them the freedom to build their own staff, and trusting them to run the offense in a way that works for the players they have. If you don't do that, you are always going to be stuck in a cycle of hiring and firing, and the talent you want to attract will look elsewhere. And speaking of talent, the roster questions are not small. Let's talk about the offensive line again, because it's been a major issue. The Eagles have spent big money on that unit, and yet injuries and inconsistency have been a constant problem. When you look at the big names, you have to wonder if they can hold up. Lane Johnson is getting older, and it's fair to question whether he can continue to play at the elite level he once did. Landon Dickerson has been a bright spot at times, but he's also had injuries and moments where he looks like he is not at his best. Cam Jurgens is talented, but he has not been consistent. The offensive line is supposed to be the foundation of the offense, but if that foundation is shaky, it affects everything else. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our Philadelphia Eagles. And don't be shy, share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Patrick Mahomes may not have been standing at a podium with a bold statement prepared, but his recent reaction when the Eagles came up in conversation has quickly become the center of speculation around the league. What seemed like a casual exchange has been interpreted by insiders as a rare glimpse into how deeply the Kansas City quarterback is thinking about a potential clash with Philadelphia. According to people close to the situation, Mahomes' words carried a tone that surprised even seasoned observers, not because they were confrontational, but because they were unusually candid. Rather than brushing off the Eagles as just another strong opponent, Mahomes reportedly emphasized their balance, discipline, and physical identity, hinting that they represent a different kind of challenge. That acknowledgement alone has fueled rumors that the Eagles are occupying more space in his preparation than fans might expect. Some believe this reaction reflects respect, others think it reveals concern. Either way, it has sparked debate about whether Mahomes sees Philadelphia as a measuring stick rather than merely a hurdle. What truly caught attention was the suggestion that the Eagles force quarterbacks to be patient, something Mahomes is rarely required to be. Sources suggest he alluded to how their defensive structure limits improvisation and demands precision over creativity, or a player celebrated for his ability to extend plays and turn chaos into highlights. This was an unexpected angle. Analysts quickly jumped on the idea that Mahomes may be subtly adjusting his mindset when imagining the Eagles focusing more on control than flair. Around the league, rival players and coaches are reading between the lines. Some interpret Mahomes' reaction as a strategic smokescreen, a way to shift attention or lower expectations. Others see it as genuine admiration, even a warning that the Eagles are built to test the very traits that define him. In the end, no outcome was discussed, no predictions were made, but the message lingered. When Patrick Mahomes talks differently about a team, people listen, and right now, the Eagles have everyone wondering why. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Philadelphia Eagles, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.